Can't wait for this one. Whatever you're doing Saturday lunchtime, stop. Park yourself, because this is the one where you need to be listening to. Big game, talkSPORT exclusive. 12:30 kickoff, Arsenal versus Tottenham. Rashman Chowdhury, commentary team of Sam Matterface, former Arsenal winger Perry Groves, and former Tottenham striker Clive Allen. You've got to keep those two apart during this one because, yeah, the rivalry, it runs deep. It really does. First versus third. This is it, right? How impressed have you been with Arsenal and Arteta and the signings made in the summer?
I've been very impressed, just like everyone else. There's a lot of questions about them at the start of the season, but I think Arteta, the documentary, I think that's, when I say that's helped, I think there's been a lot of insight into Arteta and how he manages his players.
Understanding him a bit more now.
Yeah,
right?
and I think even the players, I think fans have actually probably got to see a different side to the players that all they ever do is see on a Saturday. And little things like that helps. I think they've started really well. I think Saliba's been fantastic. Partey, Xhaka.
Yeah, that's one turnaround.
Yeah, Xhaka's, to talk about where he was and where he is now. He's been a complete turnaround. And Jesus, I knew he was going to be fantastic. I spoke to and Zinchenko, because I spoke to Riyad Mahrez, and Zinchenko was in his top 3.
Drop those names.
Yeah.
One second. Pick that name up.
We do some training together. But yeah, he said Zinchenko was in his top 3 of players and their ability. And imagine, he's been over the players at City. And yeah, he was gutted that they lost Jesus, but obviously he understood why. And I think them two players and their winning mentality has added something to that group.
Fantastic signings this summer, isn't it, for Arsenal? You think of the recruitment in the last few windows for Arsenal, but mainly what they've added to the squad this summer, because they've added starters. So it's not squad depth, it's people that are going to come in and make a difference to that starting 11. Ben White going out to right back, Saliba coming in, who's, by the way, him and Gabriel giants at the back that have pace, that have something about them, a bit of nastiness, which I don't mind, a bit of the dark arts. Zinchenko, Odegaard sort of just floating in and around that tent. Literally, it's a perfect 11. I just wonder how deep that squad is. But as an 11, it's almost perfect.
I think the squad is fantastic because if Zinchenko doesn't play, Tierney can. If Ben White doesn't play right back, Tomiyasu can. I love Tomiyasu as a footballer. I think he's consistent. I think he's great in the tackle. Spurs could have bought him, ironically, and chose not to. Bought Emerson Royal. What a decision that turned out to be. I think as far as Marquinhos and Fabio Vieira are concerned, they look to be tremendous players for the now, not necessarily for the future. All over the pitch, they've got quality for me. And I think as far as this fixture is concerned, I can't call it. Most seasons I can. Last season I would have done. If I was to say that one team has the edge, I would say Spurs, because of Antonio Conte and the way he can set a team up against any team in the world. But I think as far as Arsenal are concerned, this is the best Arsenal side I've seen probably for the last 10, 12 years.
That's saying something. Let's hear from former Spurs boss Harry Redknapp, who joined the breakfast show this morning, and he believes that both North London clubs are in a good shape to finish in the top 4.
Spurs do look strong. I think Spurs, the front players at Tottenham, Son's come off the bench the other day, got the hat-trick. Surely you would think he's going to start this week, but he's got Richarlison. He's got options, hasn't he, to play with Harry. They do look very, very strong, Tottenham, this year. I do see Tottenham and Arsenal at the moment looking like they could both finish in the top 4 this year.
Harry Redknapp there speaking on breakfast. Remember, don't forget, talkSPORT Breakfast is back tomorrow morning. Alan Brazil and Ray Parlour will be joined by former Arsenal striker Kevin Campbell to preview Saturday's huge North London derby, which is, of course, live on talkSPORT. That's talkSPORT Breakfast from 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Who's got the better 11? You got to ask this question, Dan. Who's got the better 11? And we're going to do a combined 11 when we come back a bit later. But who's got the better 11, do you think?
For me, I'm going to say Arsenal.
Arsenal,
I am going to say Arsenal.
You was going to say,
I've got a lot of mates, I've got mates in my WhatsApp. I'll have a lot of mates in my WhatsApp group now giving me a lot of stick. Yeah. But at the moment, I would say Arsenal.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What do you think, Darren? Better 11, Arsenal, Spurs. You look at that front three. Who from the Arsenal side can get in that Tottenham front three?
All right, well, I've actually got this team in my head, so I'll go with Lloris in back.
You're doing the combined 11?
I'll do combined 11, right?
Might as well, let's go, on.
So, Lloris in goal, Zinchenko left back, Saliba centre half, Romero alongside him. I would actually go with... I really like Tomiyasu. I know lots of people love Ben White, and he is a good player, but I love Tomiyasu as a player. Bentancur in the pivot, and in front of him, Odegaard and Martinelli.
Wait. Sorry, 1 second. Are you doing a 4-3-3? What are you doing?
It's a 4-3-3. 4-3-3.
Yeah, so in the midfield, you've got who? Who have you got in
I've
three?
got Bentancur, Odegaard.
Yeah.
Actually, forget about Martinelli, because I think I'm
No, you can't just switch. See, I'll put you under pressure.
No, because I didn't think about Partey, and I would have Partey in there. So the Partey, Odegaard, and Bentancur, and then I would have Son, Kane, and Jesus.
One second, you can't do that. I'm sorry, you can't do the
Why can't I
Jesus
do
one.
that? Why
Because
can't I do
Jesus hasn't played on the right for Arsenal.
I know, but I want to get him in a side.
He's a gaffer.
I want to do it.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Go on then, Dan. What have you got?
I've got Ramsdale.
Yeah.
I know Lloris is a good keeper, but I'd love to play in front of him.
Yeah.
Why? I like his character, and it's something that I'd thrive on, and we'll get into it together.
Okay.
He's passionate. I love how he's theatrical, and we'll probably give each other a lot of stick, but we'll get the best out of each other.
Yeah.
And he'll keep me on my toes. I need a keeper, not need it, but I like when keepers are keeping their defenders on their toes, and and I think that's what sometimes you need that behind you.
Any stories?
Always. Oh, hello.
I told you before. Me and Casper did was argue.
Really?
Yeah, because he never shut up. But it was like there was times when you're like, shut up. But it was sometimes needed because defenders switch off. I'm not going to sit here and say I never switched off. Of course I did. So you knew you had someone behind you that would keep you on your toes if he could see a situation that was developing.
Obviously, don't want to interrupt your 11. Then we're going to get it. Is Lloris underrated? Because this is was it 10 years in the Premier League? I think he's 11th now, 11th season in the Premier League. Captain of Spurs, captain of the French side as well. He's literally won everything you can win with the national side. But it's weird, like when everyone talks about the top keepers in the Premier League, no one ever mentions Lloris.
I think it's because sometimes
everyone's got a ricket in them. I know Alisson, Edison have had rickets.
But there were fewer from those keepers than you have seen from Lloris. Even when he won the World Cup, Lloris, he threw one in, because that's the kind, sometimes he can be utterly magnificent. And other times, I saw a game against Wolves last season and he was shocking. He was absolutely shocking and gifted them victory at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I've seen other games where he's played. He's been exceptional. Absolutely exceptional. So that's probably the reason why he doesn't get the flowers that he deserves.
All right, Dan, sorry to cut across you. Go on then. So Ramsdale in goal.
Yeah, Ben White right back.
Yep.
Romero, Saliba, Zinchenko, Bentancur, Partey, 2 in midfield. The 3 behind the striker, Saka, Odegaard, Son, obviously Harry Kane up front.
Oh, he's smart there, isn't it? See what he's done there. Because he's done 2 in midfield, he's got Saka in. I like that. That's quite smart. That's my team as well.
Yes.
He's going to copy his team.
Yeah, copy and paste. Control-C, control. Literally, I'm taking that. That's pretty smart, that is, isn't it? But what it does show, I guess, as well, is how even it is. Because going through both of your teams there, it's pretty much split. I think you've got 6 Arsenal, 5 Spurs. You've done the other. So it's very, very close.
And I tell you the reason why it's close is because the recruitment at both clubs has been exceptional in the last, 2 years. And if you look at Spurs, for example, they've completely departed from the way they normally do things because they recognise that if they lose Conte, then they can't claim to be ambitious ever again. So what they've done is they've said, you can have the players you want. They've deepened the squad. People asked why they'd bought £50 million Richarlison, for example, but you're seeing the reasons why they bought him, because he comes, it's Champions League, scores a couple of goals. He allows Conte, if Son isn't firing, to be able to put in a player of comparable ability. You look at Arsenal and the way that they've backed him, not just with good players, but with young players as well, so that you've got a team for the next 4 years. Smith Rowe's not available to them this because he's injured. But look at the other options they've got in that final third: Odegaard, Vieira, Marquinhos. They are a side, Arsenal now. yes, they had a difficult time last season, but you were saying sometimes you have to go through difficult moments to actually gel as a group of players. And you look at them now, they got more character. Yeah. They're passing all the tests as well that they failed last season. Brentford, Fulham, Bournemouth. People say, oh, what have they beaten? You have to look at the significance of the teams they've beaten because they represent the progress at the football club.
Danny, when in the season can Arsenal fans start to get excited about something serious happening here? Again, we're only 7 games in, and look, they've won 6 out of 7, so you already, I guess, have to start to get behind the team. But real conversations. I'm not talking top 4 conversations. I mean real conversations. How far in the season?
For me, it's always when the window closes in January.
Yeah. So if they're there or thereabouts in January.
We can talk about what we want, but we don't know what other team's going to do. You don't know who they're going to sign. We don't know, how much it's going to give other teams a lift. And when it gets to February the 1st, February the 2nd, I think that's when you'll have serious conversations where fans can say, I think we've got a chance now.